Yep, it's up.
Okay, nice one. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, this is from Karen Thorne. One we all know, the Actonitis Heliantho, the flannel flower, common in our own backyard. It also grows over wide parts of New South Wales, the tablelands and the western slopes. But Karen's got this one growing really nicely. Plenty of flowers there, or inflorescences, I should say, with those beautiful white bracts, which are the flannel sort of part of that plant. But that's really nice, Karen. Done really well with that one. I hope they continue to thrive like that.
They self-propagate, so the new ones from last season are just popping their heads up through the mulch.
Oh, well, you're doing really well if they're self-propagating. Yeah. Yeah. Keep everyone away from that little patch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Including
one.
the neighbour's cat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, something like that will tend to wreck it. Yeah.
Biggest enemy. Mm.
That's beautiful. Really well done there. Karen also sent in Heykia Burundong Beauty, which she said was nearing the end of its flowering, but I think we showed this last month as well. It's an absolute stunning Heykia. Again, and Greg might jump in here. It's a hybrid of two Western Australian species, I believe, that originated in New South Wales at an arboretum. But it's absolutely stunning. I've forgotten the two species, but
Myrtoides and I can't remember what the other one is, but it's certainly Heykia myrtoides.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah. I did write the two down for last month's newsletter, but I've forgotten. But I'll chase that up again. And Karen also sent in Kalbari carpet. This is a popular one with us. One of the inlands Eremophilus, which there's a cultivar of here. It's a prostrate one. How long you been growing that one for, Karen? Oh, you're on mute.
Probably about 5 years.
Oh, nice one.
It's all up the northern side of my house and across the front western hot sides.
Yep.
Mm.
I've got one as well, which I've been growing for 3 or 4 years, and I have to keep pruning it because it gets too big.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going over the path. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Eremophilus, as we always say, they're pretty easy to grow, according to Phil. And the way those flowers contrast with the foliage is just sensational. Really nice. You don't get those two colours together very often. It's beautiful.
Karen, what type of soil are you using to grow them in?
Well, I'm pretty much on.
Oh, muted again.
I'm pretty much on sandstone. But it's just native mix in there a couple of years ago, and I keep them well mulched. Yeah. But they are in hot sun and they don't get a lot of water because the eaves overhang them.
Yeah, mine's pretty much the same. I'm growing it in a pipe actually, which I filled mainly with crushed sandstone, just a little bit of potting mix, and like Karen's, mine gets very little water.
Yeah.
Nice. Ralph is here showing off his pruning skills with Westringia Fruiticosa, coastal rosemary. I was at Jervis Bay today and I saw a ton of these right on the rocky shelves overhanging the water. That's where you tend to see them, but very common in gardens. You can prune it into a nice shape like that. You can let it get a lot taller too if you wish to. I've seen some of these pruned up to 2 meters or more sometimes. But they tend to look a bit better when you keep them a bit lower. If you don't prune them often, they tend to get leggy and look a bit crappy. So Ralph's done a really good job with this one. And a really nice close-up of the flower as well, even if it's sort of upside down. But that's your typical Lamyacey Labiate flower with sort of 5 petals that are sort of lobed. And normally the flowers will have 4 anthers, and then they'll form 4 little nutlets once they're pollinated. You got to look for the nutlets sort of deep down in the flower if you want to propagate them on, but most of these Lamyacey things do better from cuttings anyway. But that's a nice one. Ralph, like that one in the rain too. It's good. Ralph also sent in a really nice Gravilla Muconullata, the green spider flower. We find this in our local backyard as well. It's got a distribution mainly in the Sydney Basin and up into the Hunter Valley and down the south coast as well, but it doesn't grow too far afield from Sydney. You can find it in the Royal and places like that, but I tend to associate it more with the Georges River country. The sandstone gullies of the Georges River is where I've seen a heap of it, especially in the Bankstown area and Warrenora catchments and places like that. Really nice plant. Ralph's got this one growing really well, and beautiful close-ups of the flowers. So that's why it's called the green spider flower, even though the actual flowers can exhibit a range of colours when you take in all the parts. That's a really good photo, Ralph. And I really like this one for some reason, just with the sunlight coming through. I thought it was really nice. So that's your green spider flower. Well worth growing. I've never tried to grow one, but plenty of our members have. And judging by Ralph's success, I'd give it a go. Where'd you get it from, Ralph?
Good question. Either Heathcote or from Phil, I can't remember.
Right. Okay, nice one. Yeah, it's a really nice Sydney Gravilla.
We propagate them down at the council nursery quite easily.
Yeah.
From seed.
Yeah.
And also from cuttings. They're a bit finicky from cuttings, but not too bad.
Right.
So usually got a bit of a stockpile down there.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I should pop down and get some. Yeah, it's a nice one. This from Jill, the leafless wattle, Acacia aphylla. It's growing really well at Jill's place. Such a potential plant, this one, and a real talking point if you can get them to grow. Jill sent this one in last month, but I actually overlooked it for the plant table, but growing really well here. You get these flowers produced in these globular heads here. I just point out, because I'm pointing it out to my TAFE students all the time, that globe there is actually a whole cluster of flowers. You actually got to, you can get a pair of tweezers and you can pull off individual flowers, but even in that globe, you can have 10 or 15 or 20 flowers clustered together. And when they're in bud, it's sort of the best time to see them forming and count them. But in this case, the globes are sort of produced in sort of solitarily, where you can get them in clusters, like raceme-like clusters in some models. But that's a real nice one that Jill's got there. How long have you been growing that for, Jill? If you're there, still there? I'll move on.
Sorry, about 4 years.
Sorry, 4 years, right. Nice. And you've just got the one?
Just the one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's nice. Beautiful.
Doesn't look like you've ever pruned your one, Jill.
No, never.
Yeah.
Mine got a bit too leggy because I grew it too close to a path, so I gave mine a boy haircut. It's coming back again, and I've got buds on mine, so yours is flowering a lot earlier than mine.
Mm. Nice.
Some at JB too, I think.
Yep. A plant or a group that Greg mentioned tonight, the Hypocalama angustifolia. Jill sent this in last month, but it only had one flower on it. And what a difference a month makes. Now it's covered in flowers with a, I guess, nice Gymea lily in the background. But that's Jill's Hypocalama there. Beautiful plant from Western Australia. Greg, do you want to tell us anything we should know about that one?
You'll be pleased to know that we're currently splitting that group up into about 4 different species.
Oh, no.
But that one will stay as angustifolium, the one that the flowers. There's one in the wheat belt, one in the coastal plain, and one through the Jarrah forest. So, and they hybridise with a whole range of other hypercalemas as well. But the one that one which ages pink is the typical angustifolia.
Yeah.
So that'll stay. But there's a beautiful white flowered one which is killed by fire, and we'll be naming after one of the local Noongar ladies who pointed it out to us. So it will be the Hypocalema belbucae when it finally comes out.
Nice. Oh, thanks for that. That's beautiful. Thanks, Jill. Jill also wanted to send in Gravilla Amber Blaze. What can you tell us about this one, Jill? I don't know much about this one.
Yeah, down at the Wildflower Nursery, they've got a huge specimen. It's just been one of my favourite plants when I go down there for years. It's right down the back, and it must be 3 metres diameter, I'd guess, and it always looks lovely with its sort of fine grey-green foliage and this really lovely colour. So I've only bought these recently. It's the first time I've seen that they've had them. So it's only been in for couple of months, so we'll see how it goes.
Nice one. Beautiful colour.
Is that at Heathcote, Jill?
Yeah.
Nice plant. And Jill sent this in last month and I missed it. A beautiful Banksia ericifolia. Is it giant candles or just ericifolia?
I think it's before somebody, I think it might have been you when you came to our house, I think, said it was probably 2. It was, yeah, I don't think you thought it was straight ericifolia.
Yeah, the leaves are a bit long, so it might be cross spinulosa and so one of those cultivars like giant candles, but it's an absolute stunner. It's doing really well. And you're on clay soil, aren't you?
Yeah, absolute.
Yeah, a little bit of clay in Gaimir. Yeah, it's a fantastic plant, really nice.
I think that tree's probably about, it must be at least 30 years old.
Oh, okay. Wowzers. Well, that's a stunner, Jill, really nice. Just goes to show what you can do with Banksias. That's
Can I ask, do you prune that? Do you take the dead flowers off when it's finished?
Where I can reach them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's nice, Jill. Just sent this in, Gravilla in Cygnus. Do the Peters and is this Western Australian, Peter? Does you and Greg want to say something about this one?
Yeah, that's Western Australian. That's Pavilion Cygnus. It's a beautiful plant. You don't want to get too close to the prickly leaves, but it's an excellent bird attractor. And it's quite a large plant. Over here, we need to graft it. I think that's probably grafted. Is it Peter Shelton, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's grafted, but I took that at JB Reserve. Yeah, you can't quite see. It's been heavily pruned quite recently, so it's looking really good as the new foliage comes back.
It's definitely grafted.
Right.
There's two of them there at JB's. I pruned this one pretty hard as a trial, and it seems to have worked well.
Yeah, so I think you did a good job. Well done.
But they are quite big. There's another one only 10 metres away from it that would be...
Yeah, there's one up the top of the hill, isn't there?
Yeah, about 5 metres high. With the lovely flowers that are about 5 metres high. There's a few lower, but we might get stuck into that in the warm season this year.
Yeah.
Well, that's a stunner, that one. Yeah, there's the contrast between the flowers and
the new foliage is beautiful as well.
Mm.
As it comes out, it's got a bit of a reddish tinge to it. It's quite spectacular plant. Nice, really good.
I think we get in there. We got this last one, Heliodendron Australis from Peter. Peter seems to like this one. He sends this in with the it's got the orange fruit on it at the moment. It used to be called Cassini Australis. I'm growing this in my backyard too. I whacked one in a shady, neglected spot about 5 years ago. It's still only about 1 metre tall, but it looks to be hitting its straps now that the Tosprum undulatum overshading it got knocked down when my tree over. So it's sort of hitting its straps now. Peter, do you want to say anything about this one?
No, not really. I was trying to grow one, but you just see it as you're walking out on your COVID exercise patrol. It's a bit sparse. That's the only thing about that one. Will they bush up? I don't know.
I've never pruned mine, but like I said, it's only about 60 centimetres tall or something like that. And it's growing really slowly, but it's probably not in a very good spot. But I should say they're found in the Royal, in the rainforests and places like similar to that, wet sclerophyll. I guess you could prune them and shine bush them up a bit. I'm not sure.
There's one or two quite large ones in the Royal, actually, near some shack that John took us to see the snake in the roof. If that's a very good connection for you, Mr. Arnie. Python living under the corrugated roof.
Yeah, that was the Rangers shack at Little Gary.
There's also one growing at down at Lillypilly on the water's edge. And I've planted a few around the place. I've got one down at Gunnamatta Bay. It's on a bit of clay and it's doing full sun. It's going gangbusters.
Nice.
So yeah, we've got one at the nursery as well, next to the bush care office, which died right back, but it's coppiced about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's now back up to about 2.5, 3 meters high.
Yeah.
Quite bushy.
Nice one. Yeah. I guess a tip there is it's amazing the plants you can take out of the rainforest and bang them in the full sun, and they won't complain at all. They're quite hardy plants, which sometimes we don't think about. But
well, when the canopy's up in the at the top, it's in full sun.
Right.
So.
That's right. It's in full sun. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's a bit of something that's not always obvious, but yeah, they're really hardy plants. A lot of rainforest ones always well worth growing. Thanks everyone. I think that's yes.